Hi YouTube world, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. I am Adrienne, I live in New York City and I love playing with makeup. And this is my Shop My Stash series called My Week in Makeup, where I have gone through the items that have either come in because I did some shopping and I wanted to test them and try them, or makeup that I've had and I have still trying to kind of remember what I think about it and whether or not it's still a product I love using. This week I tried to be a little more methodical and I did get an order from Charlotte Tilbury in, so I will be discussing a lot of Charlotte Tilbury items as well as some makeup by Mario. I got the Summer Fridays lip balm that everyone had been raving about. And probably the most surprising was I retested some of my favorite older palettes to see if they still hold up. And I'm gonna have to say, only one of the three seemed to hold up, which was pretty shocking for me. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on all these products and hearing about how they wore this week and what I really loved or what I have some criticisms about, stay tuned. I went back and used the Ulta Beauty Complexion Crush Medium Coverage Foundation, this one here. It worked pretty well. I have two shades, Fair Neutral and Light Neutral. Right now, because I have a little bit of color in my skin, I was fine just using the Light Neutral. Typically, I have to mix both of these to get kind of the perfect shade, but I didn't have to mix this week. This is a really nice, creamy, has great coverage product. You can start with your sunscreen, layer this over. It sits really well on the skin. So no surprise there, I really loved it. To help it even stay further, I have been challenging my powders. And I did use the Moira Set and Correct Loose Setting Powder in 01. It's the one that has these three colors. This was such a beautiful setting powder. So I am off being on the fence about loose powders. This is so much better than the e.l.f. powder, the e.l.f. Halo powder, which I was kind of like ho-hum about and wondering like, is this really worth it? This is just so much more finely milled. It's a beautiful product. On the other foundation days, I started to use the Charlotte Tilbury Charlotte's Beautiful Skin Foundation. And so I picked up 5 Neutral. It is what I'm wearing today. This is a beautiful shade match for me. I don't know why I never tested this product out before. I remember going in store and swatching it, and initially 3 Neutral was my shade, but now that I'm a bit darker, it's definitely 5 Neutral. But when I swatched it, I did not like the finish on my skin, but I never bothered blending it out. If I blended it out, I would have noticed something, because I noticed it immediately with this product. This is like glue. This is like the weirdest texture. It is almost like a gel glue. And so if your skin is not well prepped, meaning there's not some kind of slip underneath this product, it's going to be a little harder to blend, at least with my fingers or with a brush. And I don't tend to use beauty blenders. So the first time I put it on, I don't think I had enough hydration underneath. I just had put on my regular skincare. I put it on and I just found like it was very hard to blend. I got it to blend eventually, but it was like glue. Like it kind of becomes very gluey in a way. It did last really well. Where I made the mistake was I used this Benefit Porefessional super setter, and it dried my skin out a lot. So I didn't like that combination. I really don't think I like this product. I keep testing it. I tested it even with the Ulta. It made my skin look really dry around my eyes. Yeah, I'm just not liking this at all for my skin type. With this, I realized I just needed to rejigger it a little bit for the next day. The next day, I actually used a sample of the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. And I didn't even use that much, but it did provide a beautiful slip for underneath the product. This went on like a dream. I was so confident in my skin. It was incredible. And I just set my T-zone with the Airbrush Flawless Finish in number 2 in medium. Now, this is, this is a beautiful compact, a beautiful product. You don't get a lot of product. I could see going through this very, very quickly. It does powder down the T-zone so well. I don't understand why this product doesn't have a little poof in it. For the price point that it's at, I think that's a little inexcusable actually. By the end of the day that I wore this the second day, I did feel like I needed to touch up my T-zone ever so slightly, but I feel like blotting papers would also do just a perfect job. But this just has such a beautiful glow to it that is not too much. I find even the Tower 28 Sunny Days that I have been wearing, that even is more glowy than this. For bronzer, I also picked up from Charlotte Tilbury this gigantic, beautiful skin Sunkissed Glow Bronzer. Picked this up in the shade Fair Pale. It is actually has quite a lot of color to it for being fair pale, but I think it's a beautiful product. It's a cream, but it goes to a powder form and it just has the coolest texture. It applies so beautifully, blends itself, and I love the gigantic pan. Reminds me of the days of Marc Jacobs and that Omega bronzer, but this is really beautiful product. Other bronzer I tried this week was the Skin Enhancer in light medium from Makeup by Mario. I love this stuff. This is light and beautiful and goes on the skin also like a dream. I'm not wearing it today because I'm wearing that other one, but I kind of swapped every other day and I love this product. It's really, really pretty. On the cheeks, first was by Makeup by Mario. I wanted to see how well it lasted with that skin enhancer. This is Barely Blushing in the Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil, this one here. And it didn't last as well as I wanted it to, but it did a pretty good job. It did a pretty good job. I would probably lightly set this with an actual colored blush in the future, but I love the texture. I love how it blends out. It just feels very light and ethereal, and I love that color because it's a nude, but it still has a slight amount of pink that brings some vitality to your cheeks. The other blush I played around with was a new one from L'Oreal. This is the Infallible 24-Hour Freshwear. I had purchased one of these before and I was so impressed with it, I purchased the rest of the colors. And this week I tried the color Daring Rosewood. This is such a pretty, also neutral blush, but leans a little bit deeper and it sits on the skin beautifully. And do not be intimidated by the rich color, because although it's rich and it has a little bit of brown, it also has this rosiness that ends up just being a really beautiful nude, and I think it would work on a lot of skin tones. Blush I am wearing today is by Clinique. It is one of the cheek pops in the shade Pansy Pop. I love this. This is like, it looks super vivid and purple, but I just want to show you, it diffuses in a really pretty fashion. And the purple is not this obnoxious purple. So it's like a pinky purple. Cheek pops are incredible. This is one of my favorite colors. I think another favorite of mine is Black Honey Pop is really beautiful. So is Heather Pop if you're more of a neutral lover. They're just an amazing formula. They last forever. They're adorable. This one by Merit, this is a mini in the Cheek Flush Balm in Persimmon. This one here, this is so pretty. I wore this on a day where I did a lot of kind of like a warm look, and this wore so well. It's a beautiful toasted color that just looks amazing on the skin, and a great color for like an alternative look for the summer, kind of a very burnt type of cheek, but also a great fall color. And I love these little minis. It came in a kit and I'm having so much fun. This was the last product I purchased from Charlotte Tilbury from her site because I wanted to get the free gift. I went and I bought one more product that was not on sale, but I said, you know what? I've always wanted to try it, so let me buy it. And it's the Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand in the shade Peachgasm, this one here. Oh my God. This is the biggest disappointment I have had in a very, very long time. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to use it. But I've used this twice and it feels like there's like no product in here. Listen to people when they tell you that this is like horrible packaging. Horrible packaging. I do not know why so many companies dupe this packaging, because it is terrible. And it's not terrible because of the poof. It's terrible because of just the amount of product. It's very hard to control and it's so costly. You really do want to make sure you're using just the right amount of product. This is the color here. It's not a horrible product, but it isn't worth the money. It does not have enough pigmentation that I could wear this and it be my only blush. So it's more of a blush topper for me. I feel like my skin drinks it up, so it does not emphasize the texture of my skin. So if that's a concern of yours, I wouldn't be so concerned. I'm actually quite surprised that it doesn't emphasize the texture of my skin or really highlight my pores. It does a pretty good job of being more subtle. So it is pretty in that regard. I'm just very disappointed at how much you get. I really thought I was just gonna love this, but I didn't. It's nice, I'm going to use it, but I think there are better products out there that give you that same type of glow. And in fact, I'm gonna talk to you about that one in an eyeshadow a little bit later. My eyebrows this week, I solely used the number 5 Precisely My Brow by Benefit, and I used it up this week. So it is done. I used it up today, was the last day. So it is done. There's nothing left in the product. I love this product. I don't think it is like the perfect shade for me right now, but it's okay. If you lightly kind of fill it in, it's not as dark. Using another Colourpop cream gel liner, and this one is very nice. Very nice indeed. This one's called Charmer, and it is like a deepened violet burgundy, and I thought it performed very well. Do these last all day? No, they don't last all day in my waterline, but they give me a really pretty effect. I like the color of them, some of them, and how they perform, and some seem to perform better than others, and that one is one that I really like. On another day, I wore Stash, Urban Decay Stash. This is one of my favorite eyeliners ever. Still is. It's a very pretty olive kind of metallic green, and is so subtle and kind of brings out some of the green in my eyes, which I really like. So I love that one as sort of my secret waterline color. I am wearing today the voluminous L'Oreal mascara. Now I didn't like this last week. It was the first time I tried it. It's in burgundy. This week I used it twice and I like it better. It is not perfect. It does not hold my curl very well. I have very straight lashes and it doesn't really do anything for the curl. It does coat them with this really pretty subtle burgundy color, which I think works very well with this type of eye look and some others that I tried this week. So I do like it for that purpose. It doesn't flake. So, you know, that's a big plus. It's sort of middle of the road still. I'm gonna still use it because I know that often mascara tends to evolve as it ages, and it's been open a week and a half. The other one is the Rare Beauty mascara, still using this. This one is definitely much more dramatic. It's a great day-to-day. I still think it might flake a little on me, and so I still want to play around with it and decide. And then of course, my Smashbox Photo Finish Intensify 24-hour shadow primer. This is what I use this week. It's my favorite shadow primer. On some days I did use the 24-hour brow setter. This is also my favorite brow gel that I have. So the biggest surprise for me this week was actually my eyeshadow palettes. I picked a couple of eyeshadow palettes that I had always loved the color story. One of them was an eyeshadow palette of the year for me. This is the NARS Climax palette. It's this one here. I love so much of what is happening in this color story. This like chocolate burgundy to deepen things out. this army green matte, this rosy matte, this nude base matte, and I just love the tone of it. It's has like a grunginess, and yeah, I adored this color story. I will say I probably have used it when it was fresh. I used it less than a dozen times, and all of those times it worked very well, and I did have some longevity. This week I used it twice, and on both days I was shocked by what my eyeshadow looked like by just midday. It was so washed out. On one day I did a very kind of army green color. Another day I did more of a rosy tone color with that burgundy on the outside. All days it performed very poorly. It says it's a 12-month palette. I've had this for years. I don't know if it's sort of reached its point, and I'm very disappointed in it. I was very disappointed in my eye looks, and I really wanted to look quite nice this week, and I didn't feel like this did it for me. So I'm actually going to declutter this, which is insane for me to say. When I realized it wasn't working out for me with NARS, I was very curious with my other NARS palette that I have, and this is the Saint-Germain-des-Prés NARS palette, a special Claudette palette. I loved this one because I just found like you can get easily like 3 coordinating looks. And the day that I did that toasty look that I used, that beautiful Persimmon on the cheeks, I used this shade and this shade and this shade. And though it lasted better, it did last better, I also didn't think it lasted as well as it should have. And I don't know if I'm getting spoiled because I had a really good week with Blend Bunny last week, and the shadows just outperformed so many other shadows. Before then, I've been using some new Viseart, and all of them have been creating incredible looks and have been staying in place. But this was so subpar. So on that, as much as I love the color story, as much as I loved getting it and using it initially, it's just not working the way that it used to. So then I was really hard on myself, and I decided, well, for my last few looks of the week, including the look today, I'm going to whip out another old palette that I loved with all my heart, that I have not used in well over a year. And I'm gonna see if it's just something about my palettes are aging. And so I whipped out the Sydney Grace and Mel Thompson collaboration, Tiny Marbles. And let me tell you, this says it has 18 months. I got this when it was first released. I was such a Mel Thompson fan. Rest in peace. She was an amazing, amazing soul, an amazing artist. And the #1 YouTube channel that I used to watch was Mel's channel. And so when she released this palette, I was, I think, the first person to purchase it. I was that much into her channel, supporting her channel, but also I was obsessed with Sydney Grace. So I got this in the first round. It says 18 months. Let me tell you, this performs still like a dream, like a buttery dream. In fact, I wore on my cheeks also, on one side, was that purple from Clinique, the Pansy Pop. I mixed these two colors and I got the same shade on the other side for my cheek. I wore this as my cheek color one day and it was beautiful. You can use this color for contour. There's so much versatility here. You can even use this shadow as in your eyebrows if it works, or if you're blonde, it has these like cool taupey colors. She was so smart about the colors she chose. I am really now just understanding the genius of this palette. On my cheeks, that sheen that you saw before I put on the Charlotte Tilbury is actually this color here. This is the craziest, most metallic, beautiful, I don't know that you're gonna be able to see this. It's white, but it's not like, it blends out so that it's almost has like no base, and it can sit on the skin beautifully, and it makes a beautiful cheek topper to create like that kind of ethereal look. I also put this on the inner corner of my eye very lightly. I have this color majority on my lid, and this out of my crease, buffed out a little bit on the outside. As my liner, I actually blended these two colors here. I have such a thing for burgundy in shadow palettes. I feel like it can really transform a palette, and I just love it. And then this one, I also put it on underneath my eyes subtly, and I just love this pastel look so much. I love this palette so much. Yeah, I'm flabbergasted at how good this is, and it's definitely coming back to the top of my drawer. I'll try to insert pictures of shadow looks I did this week, but I can tell you, I was so pissed about the other eyeshadow palettes that I couldn't even get a decent photo. I don't think I got a decent photo from them, but anyway, I will try to insert what I have, but I love this palette so much. I'm so glad I played around with it. I want to play around with it more, and it motivates me to get through the rest of my eyeshadows and really put them to the test every week and make sure that I am not housing duds, because those are duds for me. On my lips, I did not wear too much this week. I actually have two lip products on right now. I have the Lisa Eldridge Night Thoughts. This is the Luxuriously Lucent lipstick. I just like lightly dab this on my lips. I don't have it full on. So lovely. It looks very dark, but it's actually just this beautiful berry color, and it's quite kind of sheer. If you are into Clinique Black Honey, this is a better color, and you get luxurious packaging too. So that's what I'm wearing. And on top of that, I'm actually wearing the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm in the pink sugar. This one here. Everyone had been raving about these lip balms, and so I had to buy one. It took forever to get to me. I had bought it at Sephora weeks and weeks ago, and for some reason, I don't know, they had to ship it in a separate package, and it took forever to get to me. It smells delicious. You get a ton of product. It just smells like delicious sugar, you know, pink sugar. And it's a very nice formula. I don't think it is like the best formula. I am curious to try one that has more color in it, because this one doesn't have a lot of color. It's essentially clear, little tinge of pink, but almost nothing. I am curious to try a darker shade. It's very oily though. Like, it has a slip to it that reminds me of kind of just like an oil lip mask. Like, I was just thinking like my Colourpop Avatar Jasmine Tea kind of reminds me of that. It's just very oily, slippy. On a clear shade, I don't mind it. I think it's nice, and it feels like it hydrates my lips. But I also feel like my skin's grit is there. Like, I could almost feel my skin a little bit. And so I wonder if it's actually penetrating my skin and helping my skin. Sometimes if I use the, this was another product I used this week, the NYX Fat Oil in the shade That's Chic. It's this like dark berry one, similar to what is on my lips. It kind of went with that shade this week. This one feels more cushiony, and I feel like it envelops that, you know, any kind of like loose skin on my lips. So it feels a little bit like, it feels nicer. This feels a little thin. But I could see why people love this. I could see why it's like, it's an easy product to put on. But again, I'm going to hold my opinion on this, and I'm very, very curious to try one that has tint, because I want to see if you put this on and it has tint, will it bleed outside of the lines? That is what I want to know. So that wraps it up with all of makeup. I want to talk about one other product. So I have been trying to repair my nails. I do my nails at home. I give myself manicures. I have hundreds of nail polish, and I've been doing like a declutter series for myself, where I am just trying to call down my collection and really identify the nail polishes I really love. And something that I did and I wanted to share, because I think this would be helpful for a lot of folks, is I realized I had like 5 nail growth, nail protecting items. I have very thin nails, so they just easily kind of bend. I love washing dishes, or let me rephrase that. I don't have a dishwasher. My hands are my dishwasher, and I don't mind washing dishes, but I do mind washing dishes with gloves on. So I beat up my hands quite often. Not ideal. And so I really pay attention to anything that is going to be a really nice hardener on my nails, because my nails will easily split. They will grow, but they will peel. They'll peel at the ends and they'll split pretty easily. I did try the Essie hard to resist nails. This one here, it's a very thin formula. Like you could see, it's almost like very watery. I didn't like this at all. I did not see any difference in the nails whatsoever. I have actually been trying these out for about 3 weeks, so I have a pretty good opinion about them, and that one just did nothing. Other one that's very similar to that, very watery too, I picked this up at CVS. This is from Nailtopia. It is their raspberry nail nourishment. It's this one here. Again, you can kind of see it's like water. It's very, very thin. I think that's part of why it doesn't really help build my nail very well. So I just thought those were useless. This was, I think, one of the highest rated nail products on Amazon. It is by Nail Aid. It is the Keratin 3-Day Growth. You're supposed to put on 2 coats, and then every subsequent day you put on another coat, and it's supposed to like be a miracle. It was no miracle. It is very gummy. It was not always gummy, but it's like very kind of gloopy, and it didn't make my nails look great. I did not see a difference, and I had done this treatment once a few months ago, and I didn't really care for it, and so I redid it again, and I did not like it. The 2 winning formulas for me, I'll just get to those. This one I bought on Instagram. I remember seeing a very convincing ad. It's by Beauty Guard, and it's called Rocket Nail Fuel. So this one also is kind of liquidy, but it's not watery, and it has this blue sheen to it. This is incredible. Incredible. The only criticism I have of this is that it does impart the slightest blue tinge to the nails, which could kind of make your nails look gray, at least my color nails. So I have very kind of pinky nails. Ignore my poor little boo-boo, but I have kind of very pinky nails, and this color above it with a few coats just could make my nails look a little gray. I still love it though as a strengthening base coat to a color, so I'm gonna keep it around. But if I just want to wear my nails like natural, I don't like the color this imparts. But I do know that this formula, Rocket Nail Fuel and Beauty Guard, they make actual colored nail polishes. So I would be curious to go back and take a look. This is by far the best to harden nails and to not make them peel. This was my favorite product by far. I just don't like that blue tinge. And then lastly, the one I'm wearing today, and probably a very close second to this one, but much easier to get to. This I picked up at CVS or Rite Aid, you know, a pharmacy here in the States. This is by Nail Tech. It is the number 2 strengthener. This one here, again, watery, but not like as thin as those first 2 formulas. And this just makes your nails nice and shiny, and it does harden them. Not as hard as that Rocket Fuel, which is crazy, but pretty darn close enough that I don't know that you need to go out of your way and spend money on that Rocket Fuel. That is my roundup for the week. I hope that you found that interesting. I'm headed off to visit my family in Florida for a week, so I'm super excited for that, and I'm already packing my bag full of goodies. So I will be talking about these next week. Please say hi in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Hit the thumbs up if you like this video, and consider subscribing if you want to keep in touch. And I will talk to you all soon. Okay, take care everyone. Bye.